Good evening, gamers. How are we all surviving the great American collapse? Yeah, me too. Anyways, today we're back talking about my favorite fucking game, Kenshi here. I decided that I'd make another video rambling about it since it's a fucking great game. Specifically, what I wanted to talk about was Kenshi and its similarities to the anime or manga Trigun. Before we begin, let me enter with a little story time. Back when little Honky was only 4 years old, one of the first animes he ever saw were Cowboy Bebop and Trigun. And let me tell you, Levi watched Trigun, and that was his entire definition of what cool would be from then on. I saw Vash the Stampede and Wolfwood, and I was sexually awoken, gamers. That shit was so cool that it would forever remain one of my favorite animes, and also be the hallmark, like, benchmark of shit that I thought was cool for my entire life. And it's been almost 20 years now, and still Trigun is one of the coolest fucking things that I've ever seen. So it probably isn't any surprise to you, now that I've told you that, on why I'm so autistically obsessed with this Desert Samurai game. So obviously, let's just get out the main similarities between these two before we go a little more in depth. Things that you need to make a badass fucking environment for your fictional story. You got number one, have it take place in a really big, really shitty desert. Number two, have it be post-apocalyptic in some sense. And number three, give it a corked up main character with a fat ass. These are the three things that you need to write a good fictional world. I hope you're taking notes on that, because there will be a test later. But no, for real, like, fucking Trigun is great. And I honestly, now that I've gotten more into Kenshi lore, the similarities between the two are very apparent. One of those being that both Trigun and Kenshi are post-apocalypse, which come after a great collapse of humanity, coming from a very high level of technology back to a low level of technology. Essentially, in the same way that the people crash off the arcs onto Gunsmoke, I imagine a similar thing happens in Kenshi with the Ancients. In fact, the Ancients in Kenshi are essentially immortal humanoid beings that were genetically engineered to be perfect in every way, which is fucking exactly what Vash and his brother are. They are both ancient bioengineered races of human beings meant to be perfect, crash landed on a horrible desert planet that society has been regressed thousands of years on. Now, both of these similarities are pretty fucking apparent. So there you go. Now you know that the only thing that separates Vash the Stampede and his brother from characters like the Bugmaster is the Bugmaster hung out with a robot on crack for 100 years and developed an unhealthy telepathic connection to man-meat spider monsters. But other than that, those two characters are fucking almost exactly identical. Other than, like, direct story comparisons like that you can make, Kenshi and Trigun, they both have the same type of rugged hopelessness vibe of characters in it, and it's something that's very indicative to the desert or the American West or Westerns in general. Both Fallout New Vegas and Kenshi and Trigun and even Cowboy Bebop, all their characters share this same level of dystopian, rugged hopelessness and just level of not giving a fuck that makes them very compelling. And I'm gonna do a little bit of a self-dox here as somebody who lives in Nevada in the fucking desert. It's very accurate. It's a very accurate and relatable feeling of just the world outside you being the world outside your home being a fucking wasteland filled with vultures that are ready to take your shit. And everybody carries themselves in such an antagonistic and hostile way that it comes off very, very rough and sometimes compelling or even cool to 2 degrees. One of my favorite examples is Mars in Cowboy Bebop is a very good example. Just a lot of Cowboy Bebop. All the towns in Trigun are a very good example, and the towns in Kenshi are a very good example of this feeling of just not giving a fuck. Oh, Fallout New Vegas as well. All the NPCs in that convey a very good sense of just the world being traumatic and just not giving a fuck anymore because of the sheer amount of bullshit that they put up with on a day-to-day basis. All Kenshi, Trigun, Cowboy Bebop, and Fallout New Vegas, not just on like a major story level, like, oh yeah, here's the similarities between the settings and blah blah blah. They all share this same deeper level of, like, psychologically every character in the show does not give a fuck and is just trying to survive, and that makes Kenshi and Trigun both seem like very, very real places. Like the planet Kenshi and Gunsmoke seem like fun post-apocalypse. Not fun post-apocalypse to be in, but some of the cooler examples of the post-apocalypse being cool. And that's why I think, in a sense, too, that no Fallout game has done as good as Fallout New Vegas. There's something about the desert setting of Nevada that is so outwardly hostile and makes people fucking hostile and suicidal that it makes it a very compelling setting for a post-apocalypse fiction to take place. Deserts are always the hallmark setting for post-apocalypse because they're the most easily visually identifiable as being barren and hostile. Snowscapes are equally as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than a desert, but for some reason our monkey brain sees all that snow and is like, oh, well, at least there's water around. You give anybody the image of a desert, and they're immediately like, oh, fuck, I'm gonna die. Like, and I think that's what makes shit like Trigun, Kenshi, and Fallout New Vegas very compelling in themselves, is the ruggedness that the desert setting provides. I know a lot of people can relate to this. My whole life, I haven't done anything but watch the comical systems around us in society slowly start to decay, and I've watched this strange feeling of hostile isolation creep up within people within the last 5 to 10 to maybe even 15 years, that it makes it makes these games really a lot more interesting and understandable. The more America goes to shit, the more I find myself understanding Fallout New Vegas and just why it's such a fucking brilliant game. And Kenshi and Trigun are in the same vein of there's just something about the way that the world is currently that makes these stories very compelling for some reason that I'm not intelligent enough to completely articulate. But it's a very specific feeling that I know anybody who has watched any of these media or is living in today can relate to. And that's why I think that Kenshi is such a beautiful fucking game, and it's very fun and satisfying to just walk around in this shitty desert, in this shitty world, and be like, well, at least real life isn't as bad as the planet Kenshi or the planet Gunsmoke or fucking New Vegas, you know. It gives you a little bit of the strength to continue on, you know, and that's really cool. Anyways, this has been another 10-minute unhinged rant about how much I fucking love the game Kenshi. If you guys are Kenshi fans and would like to see more Kenshi content, I might do a little playthrough or a little run through of this little character that I'm doing right now. I started another Kenshi run. Pray for my wife and kids. They ain't gonna see me for another fucking 500 hours because goddamn is this game good. But yeah, if you guys would like more videos rambling about Kenshi or some videos talking about like some of the characters like Seto, Catlon, Shrike, Beep, or any of that, let me know, cause I try to keep uploading once a week when I can, or every other week, just to kind of consistently keep myself making shit and talking about the games I like and why I like them. So if any of you got this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Give it a like, give it a sub, but even watching through this really fucking helps me out. Thank you all, and I hope you have a good night, and fucking hang in there. It's an alright place. Have a good evening.